This is what exactly you see. This is from the temple you get this. This is Shiva's, and this is a unique sculpture because you are seeing that this is standing on one leg, Nataraja, and this angle, it is only this angle that the acceleration due to gravity will be there, it will be balancing force. If you change the angle, it cannot stand like this. So this is other architectural beauty, a sculptural beauty. This is the typical pose. There are plenty you will get it. This is another Rajas, you get it. And this is what exactly is the equivalent dance by the here. Now what will happen? This is what I have already told you. This is already I have told you. This Rasya and Tandava. These are the. Now what has happened? This is one way you are saying that the plates were at. Once upon a time Gondwana land was there from the plate tectonic theory. Now if they were together, that means climate in the adjoining regions were same. So therefore at that time the life would be similar in the border areas, and that is what they have found from the fossils. Fossils are the remains of the plants, because the climatically if it is there, the plants of that time should be, its fossils should be available on either side, and the life of that time, dinosaurs and all that, reptiles and all that, that also could be available, and that has been found. Because you have to see from all angles. Any theory that you propose, it should validate from all angles. So this is what exactly we are doing it. Now you can see that, you see, this is a Triassic land reptile. Some in that you have seen, you have heard about Jurassic Park and all the dinosaurs and all that. It is in that family, and you see its remain has been found here and here. Can you switch off the lights? I think then it will be easier for them to see. Light, can you switch off? Is there anyone who knows where are the lights? That's good, thank you, very well done. Now you can see that this is, it has been found, this particular fossil has been found in this part and this part. That shows once upon a time they lived in this area. And because climatically, food habits and all that would have been similar. Similarly, if you see, this is another fossil of that dinosaur family. And there is a place in central India called Jabalpur. Once upon a time, there, dinosaurs, you still get fossils of dinosaurs' egg. And dinosaur eggs are like a football size, round and all that. And they are available. And you see, this has been found Africa, India in central part, and Antarctica. So that shows that over geological time they were together. That's why they could be really go from one place to another. And the conditions were favorable for them, the food as well as the climate. So then you can see there are certain amount of glossopteris found. This is some sort of a vegetation in that climate it took place. And this has been found Australia, Antarctica, in this part of India, then in this part of Africa, and in this part of South America. So it is not only life, it is the plants also, because the climatic conditions are similar. That is. And then you can see this part, here is another fossil of the and that is of the reptile family, dinosaur family. It has been found here and here. So these are some of the things which has been found, and that also shows from the fossil point of view that the life and the vegetations were similar. So this jigsaw puzzle can be justified from the fossil studies also. Now let us come back to, this is what exactly I have given it. Now let us come back to the real, because we have to go to Antarctica, isn't it? So therefore, let us go now. Now you can see, this is South Pole, North South Pole. And the gray colored zone is the Antarctica continent, which is covered with ice. And average thickness of the ice is more than 2 kilometers. There are places where the thickness of the ice is more than 4 kilometers. Do you get me? So 98% is covered. Now what you will see that this is around it is a sea. So there is a South Pole, surrounding South Pole is a continent, big continent, and surrounding continent is a ocean. And that ocean also freezes during winter. And winter of southern hemisphere is May, June. And summer of southern hemisphere is December, January. In that way it is. So it is all frozen. It freezes. But during summer, this frozen sea reduces. So Antarctica is a continent whose area increases and decreases depending upon when you are measuring, whether in winter or in summer. And this change in size is about 25%. That means 25% is added during the winter because there is a continuous frozen seawater. But there is a difference. The seawater will not freeze more than 2 to 3 meters because ice is a bad conductor of heat. So after it becomes 2 to 3 meters, the temperature does not lower, gets lowered in the water. So therefore below ice, you will get cold water, but you will not get ice. So 2 to 3 meters is the maximum thickness of the seawater. But in Antarctica, thickness can, and if you pierce the seawater, frozen seawater, after the ice, you will get water. But if you go inside Antarctica, if you pierce it, then you will get thick ice, then rock. And then you will remain in the rock, in the center. But if you come to the edges, very edges, then what will happen? The ice deposits over the continent, and then like the edge of the umbrella, it spreads over the sea. So if you, near the coast, if you pierce it, you will get a thick ice, maybe 100 meters, 200 meters, 500 meters, then you will get water. So there are 3 types of ice. It is said the Eskimos, there is no Eskimo here, but the Eskimos can distinguish 63 varieties of ice. But we are not Eskimos, we shall only distinguish 2 to 3 types. One is frozen seawater. When it in the summer, it breaks and all that, it floats. We call it pack ice or floating ice. And then there is a Antarctica, the ice is depositing over the Antarctica, and at the edges, it spreads over the sea. And so if you pierce it, near the edges, you will get thick ice of 100 meters, 500 meters, and below that water. And that sometimes breaks and becomes an iceberg. That type of ice at the edge, we shall call it self-ice. And that self-ice, when it breaks, it becomes iceberg. And inside, there are ice covered, but if you pierce it, you will not get water, you will get rocky terrain. That is what exactly is the general nature. So therefore, we see that here is a continent around South Pole, and surrounding the continent there is a frozen sea water, whose area increases and decreases depending upon. And then from India, this is 25,000 kilometers away. We started from Goa and reached 25 years. Now you may ask a question, how does it look like? You like to compare, how does it look like from the North Pole? Because after all, why go to South Pole and Antarctica? Why not go to the northern hemisphere? Question will come. So let us see. Now this is the North Pole. Around North Pole there is no continent. It is all ocean. So that is number one difference. And around the ocean there are continents: Alaska, Siberia, Greenland. This is around that. But the distances are not very far. So here, from all points of view, there is no continent to be studied. Adventure-wise also, this is also a difficult area, but it is relatively much simpler, and the distances involved from the advanced countries are also very close. So therefore, it is also scientific studies are done there, but from the point we compare between these two, Antarctica is a much more challenging area. And in Antarctica there is a continent which has to be studied, which is covered with ice. That is the difference. Now you see, this is the 16.3 or 35 million square kilometer is the area of Antarctica in winter. During summer, this will melt partly, and 25% reductions will there. It will be 12.5 million square kilometer roughly. Now, this adventure for Antarctica is going on for last 200 years almost. So, very earliest name, well-known name, is called Cook. Cook went there to selling boats and all that, and he wanted to land in Antarctica. And he came very close to this place, about, people say, some 20-25 miles from the nearest Antarctica continent. But due to the resistance of ice, floating ice, he could not go further. So he decided, abandoned the area of landing in Antarctica, and he circumnavigated and went back. And he wrote in his diary, it is one of the most treacherous continents, perhaps mankind can never reach Antarctica. It was proved wrong. Many went there, including me, went there. That is a different issue. Then there are plenty of very, very challenging adventures have taken place. I shall not cover. I shall cover two. You see, you know, Scott and Amundsen. Amundsen was the first to reach South Pole. He was a Norwegian explorer. And Scott tried it earlier also, but failed. He had to return from 500 miles away, but he was trying, and he had peace. So Amundsen landed from New Zealand, then he took his party here and went straight to South Pole. And he, in December 1911, he was the first man. Scott also was planning, and he came here and went by this road, and he reached. And when he reached there, he saw Norwegian flag fluttering in South Pole. So he was disappointed that he could not be the first person to reach. And then the weather was very bad and all that. They had not a very good planning, poor planning, people say. And ultimately, while returning, so what has happened? You carry your material. So entire material you don't carry up to South Pole. In between, while going, you keep some camps where that you will be putting your fuel and food while returning, because you will need fuel and food. So he had such 2-3 camps that where things were kept, because of while returning they will use it. And while returning, they are already dejected, they are already tired, emaciated, hunger, everything put together. So about 11 miles away from the nearest depot, supply depot, 6 of them died, including Scott. And that is one of the, but still, I shall show you the way they showed, that is what is the grit of it, exploration. That is what is important. So they died, but the first man historically remains Amundsen. Now last words, Scott died. So he writes in his diary that since the 21st, we had a continuous gale from west, southwest, and southwest. We had fuel to make 2 cups of tea apiece and bare food for 2 days. Every day we have been ready to start from our depot 11 miles away, where there is a food and fuel. But outside the door of the tent, it remains a scene of whirling drift. Snow is blowing and all, you cannot go out. I do not think we can hope for any better things now. We shall stick it out. He is not giving it up. He said we shall still try. But we are getting weaker, of course, because there is no food, no fuel, and it's biting cold. And the end cannot be far. He is realizing that perhaps we will not survive. He says, but the end cannot be far. It seems a pity, but I do not. Then he writes, but it seems a pity, but I cannot write more. He is so weak that he is not in a position. Robert Scott. Then he forgets, those days, these are all private trips. You used to take a loan from the bank, from the business people, from the friends and all that. You come back successful, sorry, and then you write books, give lectures and all that, and repay your loan. If you die, then your family has to repay the loan. He remembers that and he says, for God's sake, look after our people. because after all, they are the people. So that is what exactly is it. Now this is the diary. It is his handwriting. This is 104 years old now. And you see, this was discovered after 1 year by a search party. And you can see that this is completely legible. So you can see that though he was weak, he is about to die, but you see, you can see that this signature, the bank in any of the fastidious bank also will accept his signature because this is completely legible. There is no wavering here. So he says that, you see, but I do not think we can write more. I have given it. And the last entry, for God's sake, look after our people. But now he cannot sign. He dies. And this is, you see, 104. Ice preserves everything. Ice preserves everything. So the diary was preserved. Though it was covered with ice and all that, but nothing was distorted. And a photocopy by me 114 years back is before you to show that ice, though it can be dangerous, it can be treacherous, but it preserves. It preserves. Now, this is, I have told you, the sea freezes. During the winter, the sea freezes up to this. This is about 1,000 kilometer distance. And during summer, it is up to this. And only in some places it is maybe 50 miles, 60 miles and all that. Some places it could be 200 miles. Our job is to reach to the nearest place where the distance is minimum. We don't reach directly to the Antarctica. We reach frozen seawater, and then we start either by helicopter or by sledges and do our work. So we went somewhere here, and this is a hit and run. There is no cure color. This is the place where it is. You try, if you succeed, you go ahead. If you don't succeed, you just go to another place. The speed of our is 15 miles, nautical miles per hour. So it is roughly 22 kilometers per hour in a free water. So in a day, we make about 500 to 500 kilometers per day in a free water. When there is a ice resistance, it may be zero, it may be minus, maybe we have to come back. And so this entire distance we are supposed to cover in about 25 days. It will be 28 days because there will be some resistance and all that. So this is what exactly we are trying. Now this is the letter from that was, this is the letter because those days prime ministers used to select, used to give his or her approval to who will be the leader of the expedition. And the day I was to meet Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in Delhi, she was shot. And so we had to cancel the program because at 9:30 we are in the Government of India office. At 11:30 we were to meet in Asoka Hotel. At 10 we are told that it has been deferred. Nobody gave this news because it is a very sensitive news. So we are told. And then in the evening we came to know that this is what exactly has happened. Then, so this is one of the last, the work is of a national importance. This is one of the, you can see that this is November 5. This is one of the last files that she had signed. And so the Government of India officials, Arvind Pandey, Joint Secretary, gave a copy to me. This is some sort of a valuable document for me. The work is of national interest. It is commendable. Now, our young scientists and others involved are so cheerfully accepting the hardships of this. God bless them. Indira Gandhi, 29/10/84. And this is on 29th October, and this letter was sent to me by November 5. So this is, and when I was in Antarctica, the new Prime Minister, Rajiv Gandhi, sent me what has happened. I am glad that the 4th expedition is now and that the expedition to the South Pole is also sent. I have my good wishes to them and all that. So this is. Now this is the ship by which way. There are two types of ships by which you can go to Antarctica. One is an ice class, which is cheaper, and another is ice breaker. Ice class depends upon, ice class is normally the commercial ships which takes cargo, and not many countries have got this type of ship which can navigate in frozen water. It is only the Canada, Russia, America, then Sweden, Norway, Finland, about maybe another one, Japan, about 8 or 9 countries do it. So you have to order well in advance because they are not easily available. You have to, so we got it from Polaris, Finland. Its name was Fin. It is meant for carrying 15,000 tons of cargo to different places where there is icy water. But this is a cargo, so there are 4 cranes at the top. We removed one crane, and so that the vacant place became a helicopter landing place, a helipad, what you call it. And in the other places, we are now in summer. We are going to the equator and all that, but as we pass 40 degrees south, we will be shivering. So that's why the winter clothing and all that are here. And inside there are huge big, all the helicopters, equipments, ice cutters, all those big equipments are kept. Fuel for the entire period and all that are kept. And you can play football inside it. It is such a huge big area. And we 84 people lived in a tier style, 2-tier. You have seen the railway, that type of things. We were there inside. And these are all, and there are some aerosol observations, so that how the air moves and all that, we have done it. Now, here we are looking from the observation tower in the ship, and we are looking at it. Can you see some sort of a familiar face here? Can you? So how are you sure about it? You know the person, you have seen the person somewhere? I see. So what has happened, many of my present day students think that I am bored with a white hair. This is a photographic proof that once upon a time I had as much black hair on my head as you have on your head today. I was not born with white hair. So this is a photographic proof. By the way, as you have seen the photograph, which one you like better? The man before you or the man in the photograph? Both. Here is a diplomat. He will be a good diplomat. He says both. Anyway, so choice is yours, okay, isn't it? So that is what has happened. This is the captain of the ship, a Finnish gentleman. This is a young Navy officer. He is perhaps number 2 or number 3 in the present day. Everybody has retired, but he was very young. He is Captain Chauhan. And then these are the engineers, and we are trying to look at it, okay? So now these are some of the things. We are crossing the equator. So these are they give it. Now this is the ship by which we went. I told you there are cranes. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. This has been removed, and we have made it a helipad. This is an Air Force big Mi-8 helicopter, very big. And so this is what has happened, and this is can carry 40,000 tons of material, but we did not carry that much. We carried more people. You see, this is the Japanese ship which goes to Antarctica. And this photograph is in Mauritius. We halted in Mauritius for a day or 2, and so therefore we took it. And you can see that this is a Navy ship. Navy ship for that. You can see that this is their helipad. So here the clearance is the front, back, and side. This is a much safer place to land and take off than in our case where the clearance is in the front and the back. And if you slightly misjudge, you will be hitting the cranes, and it can, the fuels are there. Aviation fuels are very, very highly inflammable. It will catch fire. And we are not ready to really quench that fire. So that is what exactly, so one has to be careful. So this is what exactly, and this is Port Louis in Mauritius. So this is now we are traveling and we are going ahead of here. Now we are facing the first resistance of ice, floating ice or pack ice. And this looks like in the villages and all that in the pond, you see the lotus leaf, it is there. But lotus leaf, ice is floats 1/10 above and 9/10 below. So if you are saying it 1 centimeter above, there is a 9 centimeter below, be careful. And then you do not know how the tentacles are. And solid ice is very, very strong. It can pierce iron. So it can damage your ship. So one has to be very, very careful. And so therefore it looks like a thin, but they are quite thick. And ice class ship that we are traveling, thin Polaris, it can navigate if it is less than 90 centimeters. If it is more than 90 centimeters, it cannot break. So I shall just quickly show you. You see, can you see the hull? This hull pushes it and breaks if it is less than 90 centimeters. You see, this hull, it is like a hammer. It hits, if it is 90 centimeters less, then it breaks and you can go ahead. If it is more, then it is useless. So therefore, if it is more, you have to go. If today you are in Bhubaneswar, tomorrow you have to go to Chennai to find out if the thickness of the ice is less there. Not that you go to Cuttack and try to do that, because the thickness of the ice will be the same. It will not make a drastic change. So you have to make. Then you may have to go from Chennai to Bombay, from Bombay to Varanasi, from Varanasi to Kolkata. That way you have to change. 700, 500, 600, 700 kilometers. And this is a trial and error. There is no scientific way to do that. You do some telling here, we go by ear, try to see it and all that, but this is by and large trial and error. So this is what exactly. You see, then this ice, it is floats. Ice does not melt. Ice breaks. And it breaks into bigger pieces, then to smaller pieces, then to smaller pieces, and then if the temperature goes high, then its sharp angles becomes rounded as you are seeing it here. And it is floating, it will all depend upon the current, it will depend on the wind, it will depend upon the temperature. Now you can see this looks like a mosaic, isn't it? It is as if, but it is a crude mosaic, as if it is a mosaic of the bathroom. Now let us see. Now you can see it has gone to smaller pieces. It looks a better mosaic, as if it is a mosaic of the drawing room. It is all nature made. We are not doing the mosaic here. Nature made. And you can see that this is the area. This is called Polynia, which is free from ice. So we are trying to go there by overcoming these distances. And this is a free from, because of the hot water, cold water mixing is in such a way that there the ice is drifted away. But beyond that, again there will be ice, frozen sea water, but we have to select a distance where it is less so that we can go by sledges or by helicopters or both. You see, again we are doing the same thing. You can see that. Now this is, you see that, I was telling it, it breaks into pieces, big chunks. Now can you see that? It is a huge big chunk. It is all frozen seawater. It is, here a chunk has gone out, it is water. Here again it is. And this has, a chunk may go out in the morning depending upon the wind, current and all that. Again in the evening it may come back. And so it is not that if it has gone, we should be very happy and dance that it has gone. No, you never know. Damn thing may come back. We are dealing with nature, you know. So we do not understand everything of nature. So we have to accept it, and we should not get overjoyed if things are slightly better at some times. You never know when things will be tougher. You see, can you see that? It looks like as if the nature has made a way for us. No. We have broken the ice and went through the wrong distance. And now we are getting resistance. Now this is a difficult situation. If you go ahead and then you get obstacles, thicker ice, more than 1 meter and all that, and the temperature freezes, lowers for 2-3 days, then the sea all around will freeze and you will be trapped. So instead of going to Antarctica, you will go safely inside water. The government has not spent money to go inside water. They have spent money to, so that we go safely Antarctica and come back to India. So this is a decision we have to take. Now in the process we have lost a lot of time. So you have to come back, again find out a place. Initially we thought this is a good area. But then we found, after making 2-3 days of effort, that we have selected a wrong place. But that is all in the game. So we come back and then try to find out another, as I have told, today if I am in Chennai, Bhubaneswar, tomorrow I have to go to Chennai to find out a place. And that is it. Now ultimately we have reached 29th of December, 4 days behind schedule.